Thank you, Kathleen. And I will spend the first 45 minutes on the 20 technologies I'm going to talk about and give you 15 minutes for some questions afterwards. So the 20 technologies I want to talk about, they're summarized there from digital transformation right down to cybersecurity. And whether we realize it or not, these technologies are changing the way we think, the way we live, the way we interrelate with each other, how we work, and they will govern our lives from now on. And newer technologies and a twist of each of these will dictate how we work and live. So let's talk about digital transformation. Look at how computers have changed everything that we think of. And the power of computers is growing on a daily basis. Digital transformation natives such as Uber, Airbnb, and Spotify have successfully attacked the taxi, lodging, and music industries by capitalizing on these technological innovations. Think, for instance, CDs and DVDs are on the way out now. Music is now streamed. How often would you put a CD in your player and play music when you can go to Spotify and do the same? So digital transformation is really changing everything we know of, everything we think of, how we eat, the way we do our groceries, the way we get services from financial institutions and other service providers. All jobs will be transformed due to digital transformation. And they will make considerable innovations in the workforce. In fact, digital transformation is recasting relationships between all stakeholders, employees, vendors, the customers, and all regulators. And there are more opportunities to harness from data insights from digital transformation. Let's go to the next one on big data. Come to think about it, big data is the vast amount of data, structured or unstructured, created by organizations and people. Think about video, images, emails, texts that you receive on a daily basis, and when you go on the internet, the data you're gathering there. Big data now is not measured in megabytes anymore, but it's mind-boggling. It's measured in petabytes and exabytes. And 1 petabyte and 1 exabyte is equal to 1 million and 1 billion gigabytes respectively. Put that in context. Big data now is the oil that is fueling the digital economy, which I just spoke about, the digital transformation. Digital transformation could not have been done without the availability of big data. It is a revolution that is transforming how we work and live. What is the impact on the business? Big data enables the harnessing of large quantities and entire population of data sets for analysis that will yield conclusive results, especially when you're managing an organization. It improves management analysis and reporting, and it enables well-informed decision-making. It enhances operational efficiency and increases transparency. For example, as an auditor, you do not sample transactions anymore. Instead, you can take an entire year's worth of invoices and run it through some computer software programs and come with some conclusive results based on what you've seen. So that's the power, that's the availability of big data now that is really fueling how organizations are managing themselves and how people are controlling organizations as well. Analytics. Analytics is the engine of the big data we can think about. The extensive use of data using sophisticated quantitative and statistical analyses and data mining tools. For instance, the availability of all this data we have on our hands is of no use if you don't analyze them using data analysis techniques and data mining techniques as well. And there are powerful computer tools to enable us to do that. Analytics are supported by IT tools that drive decisions and actions. It was analytics that fueled the growth of such behemoths as Facebook Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Google. Those companies could not have grown so hugely without analytics. They know what we think, how we think. They know what we buy. They know where we go to. They know what our interests are. And they only could have done that through the use of powerful tools on analytics. What's the big impact on business? Data analysis tools such as Benford's Law, Excel, ACL, Caseware, IDA, SPSS, SAP, and Oracle. They provide extensive analysis of big data for improved management and decision and control. Such tools have been effective in preventing and detecting fraud, irregularities, and inefficiencies. For instance, most of the major frauds we can think of today that have been uncovered only could have been done by taking data mining and data analysis tools and using those tools on the big data that was available to uncover such massive corporate fraud. Cloud computing. The provision of information technology services via the internet from a remote or several remote locations is what is called cloud computing. What it does, it combines IT outsourcing, data center, web applications, network, and database. And we have providers such as IBM's cloud, Amazon's web services, Microsoft's Azure, and Google Cloud Platform. With cloud computing, you don't need a USB key. You don't need on-site storage devices anymore. Everything can be uploaded to the cloud. Large amounts of data that can be stored in the cloud with 7/24 access. And IT resources can be redeployed to more productive areas for greater efficiency in an organization. Not any organization today that is operating without maximizing the use of cloud computing is an exception. They're operating more in the past. Let's talk about drones. Traditionally, drones or unmanned aerial vehicles, UAV, have been limited to military use due to the high costs. But with falling prices, consumers can now acquire and use drones for a range of purposes. What's the impact on business? These drones will account for over 90 billion within 5 years from now. And in the context of business applications, they can be used for inventory counts and for accessing difficult locations where the risks are great. I mean, with the recent crisis we had in Afghanistan, it was drones that were used to target potential terrorists that were going to the airport to lose their bombs there. And in other uses, it's used in aerial photography extensively. So drones, which were like science fiction in the past, are now a way of life. They enable us to go where we cannot go, and they enable us to go into dangerous situations where we don't want to be there, but drones can do it for us. You look at some documentaries like the BBC Earth and The Blue Planet. They were all done by drone photography. And the quality is so startling, it will be amazed to know that they were done by drones and not by human photographers. Financial services technology, or Fintech. We use our smartphones for mobile banking and investing services to increase people's accessibility to financial services. Can you go one day without the use of your smartphone? I can't think of that. Financial technology, they leverage analytics, blockchain currencies, digital cash, mobile wallets, and artificial intelligence to drive disruptive improvements in operations and customer engagement capabilities. What's the impact on business? They help to expedite the processes that once took days, weeks, or even months. And the beauty with Fintech is that it has brought banking to remote areas that were once considered unbanked. And they enable consumers to bypass traditional bank branches for things like consumer loan or even a mortgage. Now, in some third world countries, especially in Africa, financial services technology is used to its maximum because in those places, electricity and technology have not reached some remote locations. The other day, I was looking at the internet, and some remote tribes in the Amazon are using fintech now because traditional banking cannot reach to them, and they understand the use of money in a consumer-related environment these days. Quantum computing. This is a nascent technology that will explode in the next 5 years. It's a new method of running computer programs, potentially at higher speeds, more powerful than today's digital computers. What quantum computing is all about, they run on qubits, Q-U-B-I-T-S, that quantum physics allow to hold a mixture of ones and zeros. They permit representing much more data in a single position of qubit. What's the impact? It will be able to break all encryption in use today. In other words, we have to come up with more secured codes, encrypted codes to protect data. They can tamper with most blockchain implementations. Quantum computing can outperform any computer hardware. And it has many operational attributes of interest that improve centralized cloud computing. So today's computers, within 5 years, will be outdated and will be overtaken by quantum computing, where data can be held using both ones and zeros, rather than just one, then zero. Nanotechnology. This is the science of small. It's a broad-based general purpose technology that impacts almost every aspect of modern society. A unit of measurement using nanometer is a billionth of a meter, incredibly small. A human hair is 100,000 nanometers in diameter. Nanoparticles are already used in such products as flat screen TVs, monitors, cell phones, and over 1,500 industrial products. The impact on business is that experts see nanotechnology changing the landscape in manufacturing, medicine, service providers, information technology, and business purposes. The other day, I was looking at the program it was on one channel, the BBC channel, where they're using nanotechnology now to explore exoplanets that surround other solar systems just like ours. So we are on the cusp of connecting with possible alien life sooner rather than later with the use of nanotechnology enabling space technology. Nanotechnology will enable faster, smaller, and more powerful computers that consume far less power with longer lasting batteries. The circuits made from carbon nanotubes could be vital in maintaining the growth of computer power, allowing Moore's law to continue. RPA, or robotics process automation. RPA is a bot or a software that programmed to perform basic human tasks that are typically repetitive, rote, or manual in nature. Example, bank reconciliations. It's a configurable software laid on top of IT systems that can open spreadsheets and databases, copy data between programs, compare entries, perform algorithms, and prepare reports. What's the impact on business? Bots or RPA work around the clock. They don't make mistakes, and they can perform tasks that humans do at a fraction of the cost. RPA has contributed to doing more with less. Example, broader coverage of areas such as reconciliations. Think about a bank reconciliation. You take the opening bank balance, you look at all your transactions that are in transit, you look at on cash checks, and you come to a closing balance. Is a repetitive task that you can program a computer to do, and you don't have to look over it. It will do it 7/24, task after task, without getting tired, just as humans do, and without making mistakes. So RPA is driving a lot of business processes now. I know of a lot of audit departments that are using RPA for routine audit tasks, and with clear advantages, with a reduction in audit costs and greater efficiency. Virtual and augmented reality. This is a technology that is changing the way we look at video images, and sound images as well. It is an artificial computer-generated simulation of a real environment or situation, and it is delivered to a user through a headset, and by stimulating vision and hearing, the user experiences this situation of environment firsthand. For instance, you can travel to Mars and experience what it is like on Mars without even leaving Earth through virtual or augmented reality. They mimic the environment that exists somewhere else through this technology. The impact on business is that it will eventually disrupt the digital workplace. Example, augmented reality can provide a new way to enhance how machines and humans work together. And both virtual reality and augmented reality have great potential in the entertainment, science, and medical industries. Let's talk about the 5G networks now, which are the way for telecommunication services to be delivered now. It's 100 times faster than the 4G. The 5G is key to usher in the fourth industrial revolution that will change how we live and work. 5G will cater for the vast amounts of data that the internet will generate and will increase reliable broadband connectivity in rural and remote areas. With the exponential growth of big data these days, it is 5G that is maximizing, pushing big data and leveraging the use in fueling the growth of industry and commerce. One study estimates that by 2035, 5G will cost $15 trillion in global economic output and generate 22 million jobs worldwide. Predicted speeds of up to 10 gigabits per second represent up to 100 times increase when compared to 4G networks. And transferring a high resolution movie at peak download speeds will go from taking 7 minutes to just 6 seconds. Think about that. You want to download images, movies, documentaries, using 5G will take a couple of seconds. Data mining. Data mining refers to the discovery of information without a previously formulated hypothesis, where relationships, patterns, and trends hidden in large data sets are uncovered. For instance, with the big data that we have available, it can sit there without us doing anything with it. But what data mining does is that it takes tools and it harnesses, it explores what is in the data. So techniques such as deep learning, machine learning, predictive modeling, link analysis, data segmentation, deviation detection, text mining, and social network analysis are all data mining. With all the text that we are bombarded with on a daily basis through the internet and from stakeholders, none of us has the time to analyze what text is, but data mining with computer data mining tools can make our life easier when we harness it. The impact is that it is extensively used in the audit effort. It's most useful in exploratory analysis scenarios where there are no predetermined notions about what will be the outcomes. Some business applications, examples include new purchasing trends, plan investment strategy, customer attrition, hiring the right people, employee attrition. And an example here is that data mining is used in the HR departments to make sure that when you submit a resume online, what this tool would do, it will filter out people who are qualified, people who have the relevant experience, people who meet predetermined criteria. So only select few candidates will be contacted for a job opening. Another example of data mining is that you have a large amount of data. Using visual techniques and non-visual techniques, you can discover the outliers. For instance, when credit card companies analyze your data, they can see where you shop, what you're buying, when you're buying it, and whether items you buy are related to each other. All that can only be done through data mining. Then they use that information for making decision purposes to sell you more products or to get you to maximize your credit cards. Artificial intelligence. We hear about this all the time, but what it is, it refers to technologies that make machines smart, by enabling a machine to be programmed to explore vast amounts of data in order to find insights about causality, correlations, and other complex relationships that can be expressed as an algorithm. Human can interpret findings and determine what action to take. AI, or artificial intelligence, they include deep learning, machine learning, image recognition, natural language processing, cognitive computing, intelligence amplification, cognitive augmentation, machine augmented intelligence, and augmented intelligence. In other words, all these techniques on AI are a twist of mimicking the human thought process, the human thinking, so they can make sense out of a vast amounts an array of data. What's the impact on business? They are used extensively in fraud analysis. They monitor financial statements, portfolio management. They screen job applicants. They increase automation in transactional tasks, end-to-end operations, management functions such as planning, control, decision-making, and directing. Think about when you go to a bank, for instance. You can do online banking, but little do you realize that whatever you input or information you give to the online banking requester is really analyzed by artificial intelligence to determine your profile, your ability to service a loan, your sources of income, without you knowing. It's the AI that is determining all of this, without you ever interacting with a human person on the other side of the bank. Natural language processing, or NLP, that's a free text interpretation that is focused to understand the contents of human communication. NLP allows the identification of critical data contained within large, unstructured text sources. Example, using the internet looking for sites or documents that contain the keywords entered. NLP allows the identification of critical data contained within large, unstructured text sources. For instance, if you take the history of all the sites you have visited, and law enforcement agencies use this to nab people who are visiting certain sites, like terrorist sites or pornographic sites on the internet, to look for child molesters, for instance. It's NLP that is doing all of that for them. Computer programs analyze text, speech, and images to understand us, answer questions, and even tell us what to do. Example, a program to analyze customer accounts, read emails, and instruct bots to automate customer complaints and refunds. Far cheaper than having humans perform this. So natural language processing is really computer understanding human thinking and human analysis of textual information to make decisions on behalf of us. It's frightening, but it's there. Machine learning. It entails computers teaching themselves as they course correct and try new strategies when obstacles are encountered. Learning iteratively from outcomes or modeling and programming themselves to improve performance. Within machine learning, a computer is given data or inputs, activities and outcomes, then told to analyze it to learn how to improve outcomes. Common examples are in email spam filters. When you look at your email, for instance, and you go into the junk email, you wonder how the system knows they should be junk. Well, it's based on certain common words that they are programmed to identify. And all that is machine learning that is working behind the scenes there. Credit monitoring software, and news feed and targeted advertising functions. Machine learning has the potential of disrupting every industry. What's the impact on business? It has impacted a range of jobs, for example, welding. So when in the aircraft manufacturing business, for instance, all the welding of the pivots on the airframe are done by machine learning without humans being involved at all. Using computer programs, these machine learning bots can make an airplane at half a fraction of the time that humans can take to make it. The kind of work produces noise, intense heat, like in welding, and toxic substances, found in fuel. But without machine learning, Those robot welders would need to be pre-programmed to weld in a certain location. However, advancements in computer vision and deep learning have enabled more flexibility and greater accuracy. Machines can store and access more data than any one person could, including mind-boggling statistics. Using big data, for instance, AI could one day identify trends and use that information to arrive at solutions to previously untenable problems. Let's go to deep learning now. Deep learning is a branch of artificial intelligence that can be trained to recognize patterns in the vast amounts of big data that would make it impossible for humans to do. Deep learning essentially combines machine learning with natural language processing, which we talked about earlier, whereby computers are allowed to classify and replicate human thinking. These machine learning methods can learn more abstract concepts, primarily in the areas of image recognition and text processing. IBM's Watson deep learning powered systems are used by some firms to analyze vast amounts of banks' credit files for commercial loan portfolios. What it does in business is that deep learning simplifies and optimizes an end-to-end workflow. The process spans installing and configuring the environment to ingestion of data, data preparation, and transformation to meet the requirements of deep learning frameworks, building, training, and optimizing the neural models that make deep learning possible, deploying the model in production, and improving the model by retraining using new data as needs evolve. With a combination of deep learning and machine learning, AI with a twist has mimicked the human thought process. By studying how the human brain operates, we can develop deep learning tools and techniques, as well as machine learning tools and techniques to do the things that were once considered almost impossible. We can send unmanned spacecraft now into deep space through the use of deep learning and machine learning, and with an AI with a twist. Intelligent automation. Intelligent automation, or IA for short, refers to software robots that run with a predefined goal and serve internal system needs, such as initiating, validating, monitoring, and terminating or altering other software applications or processes. These robots can even execute parts of digital backend processes in production to eliminate tedious, repetitive tasks. This is the emerging reality where digital labor is a new low-cost alternative to manual labor. The impact on business is that intelligent automation software can easily handle most manual tasks with a surprising degree of sophistication. What appeared to be a gradual testing of the waters a few years ago has turned into a tidal wave of new solutions that are yielding surprising results. These technologies are no longer on the horizon, they are here. The questions we face are, what is the potential impact on global business services? And what should global business services execs be doing to prepare for them? Blockchain, we heard about blockchain and cryptocurrency and all the related technology associated with blockchain, but it's really an operating system. And it made its debut in 2008 as a core technology behind Bitcoin. Essentially, it is an internet-based distributed ledger that digitally records the full history of a transaction stored in blocks of data that are linked or chained together. Participant computers act as nodes to authenticate each new transaction or block as it is added to the chain. It's an encryption, digital signatures, and protocols provide security. So the impact of blockchain on business is it is expected to change everything in the world of business and commerce. It impacts all processes, including the way transactions are initiated, processed, authorized, recorded, and reported. And it provides visibility and transparency, security, shared authority, immutability, embedded controls, and ease of reconciliation are all powerful benefits of blockchain and have major implications for the future of both the audit and accountancy professions. So cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, could not have been a reality without the use of blockchain technology. The Internet of Things, what IoT for short is called, it's an environment in which anything from electrical systems to domestic appliances, streets, buildings, people, even items of clothing with smart computer chips are connected to the internet with the ability to transfer data over a network. Coined in 1999, IoT arose as a result of marketplace forces such as increasingly available broadband internet, reducing costs of technology, expanded use of cloud computing, and an explosion in the number of devices with smart computer chips and Wi-Fi capability. One study by Cisco, for instance, showed by the year 2021, which is this year, the number of devices connected to the internet globally would be over 50 billion. And our population in the earth is over 7 billion. So imagine all those devices that amount to 50 billion are all connected. IDC projects a revenue stream of over 1.7 trillion for the IoT ecosystem this year. That's 2021. And finally, cybersecurity. Cybersecurity refers to the technologies, processes, and practices designed to prevent unauthorized access to an organization's information assets. It is considered a top risk in many surveys, World Economic Forum, Professional Association, the Big Four, McKinsey, and others, and other forums. The impact of cybersecurity is that witness the many hacks we have had recently into organizations' websites, where customers' private information has been hacked. Example, Life Labs, right here in Canada, and municipalities and hospitals across North America. Cybersecurity uncovers weaknesses in a company's security systems. Financial losses could result, asset destruction, reputational damage. With the frequency and severity of cyber attacks on the rise, there's a significant need for improving cybersecurity risk management. Now, I'm in the audit profession, and I can tell you cybersecurity is a top risk as I move through the audit clients that I have to deal with, especially with the rise of computer hacking into organizations, steal computer data, steal private information, and even financial losses. So it is a huge risk. So with that, I open the forum to any questions you may have.
Thank you, Lal. Does anybody have any questions for Lal today?
Do we do it by a show of hands?
Just go ahead and speak. I don't see any hands raised right now, so go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay. First of all, let me begin by thanking Mr. Balkaran for his presentation, which I think was an excellent presentation. I have to say that my perspective is I'm going to be coming from a SIDS perspective, a small island development state, because I am actually in Barbados. I wanted to find out whether there has been any estimation of what it would be the cost for small island development states to be moving towards these technologies, and whether there's been any work done in terms of how you would prioritize for small states who already have so much dealing with, from debt to climate change and hurricanes and all of the other things that we face at this time, and whether there's any information out there on any movement at all for small states in the direction of these technologies. Thank you very much.
So, excellent question. I would say that almost all these technologies, the literature to understand how they are used, and the tools that drive each of these are on the internet. Just you have to spend some time to do some research, and the UN and the World Bank are prepared to use these technologies to enable third world countries in particular to maximize their use. There's little or no cost in, let's take big data mining and data analysis on big data. If you just go on the internet and you key in data mining tools or data analytical tools, you'll see a slew of computer software and tools and technologies that come up. Just explore each of these. Some will come at a cost, and you'll have to be prepared to pay for the tool to be used, especially if it's a proprietary computer software that you develop. But some are free. Some can be, believe it or not, simple Excel that we use on a daily basis can be used extensively, especially Excel 2019, on analyzing big data without going for the off-the-shelf software. Hope that answers your question.
Yes, please. Thank you very much.